21. This is our first of the new year, so Happy New Year, everybody. I hadn't seen you. Did I say 21? 22. You know, I have spent the last week trying to correct checks and everything, and it's hard for me to get into 22. And I guess when you get my age, you don't want to keep pushing them that far, but it is 2022. But it's good to see each and every one of you here this evening. We got several things to go over, and at the absence of our Vice Chairman, I'd ask for someone to move for the approval of our minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I've read the minutes and move to approve as submitted.
Motion been made to approve by Commissioner Joe Gurley. And we had a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Serino. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes have been approved. We'll begin first with our Sheriff's Office report. I believe y'all have about 3 different amendments, don't you?
The first one, the general fund amendment on your iPad.
They're all on the iPad. I saw those.
I do have a few amendments tonight. First is a general fund amendment, wants to recognize canine donation in an amount of $200. I'd like to transfer that to animal supplies. The second one is out of the jail, I need to take $45,000 out of food for the inmates and put it into our prisoner transport.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Okay, you want to take these together?
These two together?
Those two together?
General fund.
And from the general fund. All right, we have the motion to approve those. Commissioner Gurley, do you have a second? Second. Commissioner Rather? Call the roll.
Commissioner Phillips? Yes. Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Serino?
Yes.
Commissioner Virgil Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
The next amendment will be from the drug fund. I'd like to move $30,000 out of our 319 account and put it in motor vehicles for a new vehicle for narcotics.
You've heard this request. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion approved. Commissioner P, have a second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner Gurley, call the roll.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Serino?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
And at last, we did receive the grant for the air purification system in the amount of $73,850. I'd like to move $25,000 of that into the maintenance repair, and then in 790, which will be the equipment that we'll purchase to install that at the Sheriff's Office.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve. Commissioner P, have a second. Second. Commissioner Serino, call the roll.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Gammon? My speaker wasn't on, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Serino?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then I would have my report, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
What is our population in the jail right now?
6, it was, on the one you have was from this morning, but it was 640 when I left today, when I got the last sheet.
Other questions on the budget report? Are you seeing any changes that we should be
Overtime's going to be an issue.
overtime?
We're still 30-something down, so,
We're still,
but we'll address it in
I
April
think we're
and May.
seeing that in most
Yes.
of our situations involved in. I was looking at your office report today. You're going to have that when you can increase the continuous response that we're having out there too.
Yes.
And you're having that. I
We are.
noticed that I'm seeing
And
this with.
I have the report in there of the people that's left in there, and that's pretty well common knowledge. As many as we hire, we lose, it seems like.
Other questions? Hear a motion to accept the report. Motion made to accept the report. Commissioner Rather, have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Gurley, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? The report is accepted.
Thank you.
Sheriff, anything you wish to bring before us?
Only thing I want to report is our COVID cases. As today, we had 24 of our personnel that were out with COVID. So we've been hit pretty hard. It's been fairly consistent at this level for the last 2 or 3 weeks. In the jail population, we were down to 12 today, and that's down from 27, so we're starting to see the turn there. Although what we've established on this thing, it seems like it fluctuates on us, and as we come down, then there'll be a few days later we come back up again. So we're waiting on the turn, but right now it's hit our deputy level pretty hard right now. So that's kind of where we are with it right now on COVID.
Sheriff, are you able to isolate incoming prisoners for a period of time?
Yes, sir.
or do
We're
you
still
do that?
isolating anybody that comes into the facility. They're being isolated until they're cleared. And the new is 5 days plus 1, so 6 days that we're isolating. And trying to keep that part of it out of general population. Okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, we're ready now to go to the PAWS report. Gregory.
Good evening. You have the December report in front of you. We had 413 animals come into the shelter, 4.4% euthanasia rate, a live release rate for our dogs of 92.6%, 98.3% for our cats, and when you figure in the wildlife, it was still a 94.7% live release. Surgery programs are still moving along well. 150 animals came in through the surgery program. You can see that our officers completed out 1,552 calls for the month, traveling 9,445 miles. Fiscal year to date, our live release rate is 92.8%. That's with 3,047 animals coming into the shelter. Officers completed out just shy of 10,000 calls for the first 6 months, traveling 68,090 miles. If you'll recall, the report that I just gave goes by fiscal year. The next report is our rabies exposure and bite report, and it goes by calendar year. We had 26 bites for the month of December. None of those were sent for testing. We had 1 other exposure reported. 1 of those was sent for testing and came back negative. And then the last page of the report is just the visual graph that I give you to show the live release rate versus the euthanasia rate and the other outcomes. Just on a side note, I wanted to mention this. Of course, everybody knows that Betty White passed away a couple weeks ago. There was a Betty White challenge going around. She was a huge animal person. We had right around 250 individuals donate money to the shelter, totaling about $7,500. So, and we sent letters to all of those folks. So I just wanted to tell the community thank you for that support. And that's my report, sir.
Okay. Any questions for Director Gregory? If not,
Second.
do we have a motion to approve? Commissioner,
I'm making a second.
okay. We have the motion made. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. OSHA? Mr. Elam.
Chairman,
Good evening, sir.
Commissioners. OSHA report for the month of December. See a total of 14 incidences. Total year-to-date's 174. Total recordables 128. Restricted day claims 66. Lost day claims 29. Other recordables 33. On the next page, on the job claims, year-to-date 174 compared to this time last year at 159. Third page, you will see on the job injury incurred dollars. 2021 is $523,000 compared to this time last year at $815,000. And the breakdown of the injuries, Board of Education had 10, County General had 4, County General Sheriff's Office had 2, CWC had 1, and Solid Waste had 1 for a total of 4 out of the County General. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Any questions on the OSHA report?
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Recovery Court. Good evening.
Good evening. For the month of December, Recovery Court had 5 new intakes, 9 graduates, and 5 individuals that discharged. Facts that are maybe not included in the statistics reports that I provided are that in that same month, we had 1 baby born drug-free out of drug court, and that's a beautiful baby boy who's doing very well. DUI court was able to assist and support one of our clients who was in a domestic violence situation to get out and get her own independent living for the first time ever. And then I want to publicly thank Greenhouse Ministries, whether they realize it or not. Their housing program has accepted and is currently housing 3 of our veterans from our Veterans Treatment Court program. So we are so thankful for that collaboration. And I don't talk about them a lot, but the reentry program that we have that at the workhouse and at 940 held a community resource day out at the workhouse, and the American Job Center, Project Return, and several other speakers came and talked to the individuals at the workhouse about opportunities once they are released despite their criminal record. So our program, this is just some examples of how our program's working within the community and with our clients. The last attachment that was connected to the report is the agreement for our BJA grant that we accepted to expand DUI court. That requires us to have an evaluator, and that was all in the budget and the proposal to begin with, but we wanted to make sure that you all had a copy of that and that it was, made public. Our evaluator is Allard Consulting, and she has already started the process to help us with that grant. And that is my report.
Gentlemen, any questions on the report?
Motion to approve the report, Mr. Chairman.
Motion approved. Commissioner P.
Second.
Did I get a second? Hard to hear up here. I don't know if y'all have ever sat up here, but it's hard to hear. We have the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved. All right. Probation report. Evening.
Hello. For the month of December, we had a total number of terminated cases equaling 138, which equaled out to 116 people. Right now, we currently supervise 1,014 active cases on probation. As far as our class numbers go, we had 48 participants in our classes. Of those, 13 finished successfully. And out of those numbers, 2 of those individuals were discharged unsuccessfully. Our Olive Branch numbers, we were able to help a total of 4 people during the month of December, and we just broke those down. 3 out of the 4 were homeless individuals in our county. I also, I'll go over that in just a minute. As far as our financials for the month of December, we had a total revenue amount equaling $14,923.71, with the difference in our expenditures equaling out to $98,771.12. Total amount of probation fees turned over to the clerk's office to be collected for the month of December equaled out to be $8,506. Those that failed to enter a payment agreement in the month of December equaled $4,412.95. So far this fiscal year, we turned over $44,947.95 to the clerk's office to be collected in payment agreements. So far this fiscal year, we've not had $31,384.95 turned over to the clerk's office. Those are the individuals that failed to enter payment agreements with the clerk's office. And then we have a total number of 12 people that are deemed indigent by the court. And then the last thing, the second thing, is a picture of, we were able to help 4 children in a family that we serve have Christmas this year. There were some older children that weren't on any kind of angel tree, so we were able to get them some games and some things that they could use that were age appropriate. So that would be my report for the month of December.
Right. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve. Commissioner Gurley, second. Second, Commissioner Rather. All those in favor of approving the report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, Correctional Work Center.
Our board did not meet in January due to the inclement weather, so we'll move over to the work release program. Statistics, everything's going good with that. Our yearly activity report, population's rising slowly, but it's going back up. The monthly worker report, you'll see that total combined saving using inmate labor throughout the county is $73,664. And December, total trash collected on county, state, and interstates was 8,320 pounds collected, and then on state, that was on county roads and county trash only, and then on state routes, 530 bags collected. We currently have 0 staff who are COVID positive, and I think 5 inmates who have COVID, so that's our report.
Questions anyone may have?
Motion to approve the report, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve the report, Commissioner P. Second. Second, Commissioner Phillips. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Approved. Before you step down, if you don't think our citizens out there are not keeping up with what people do with litter, as I was going about getting my paperwork signed to run again, I went to a family, and they said, I got to tell you something. Back when the convenience centers were closed for the holidays, said one morning I get up and I look out my window, and there was a car parked right out there, and they pointed out the window. There's a stream out there in front of their house, and there was a gentleman with a small trailer with 10 bags of garbage on the back of it, throwing it off in the stream. Well, this guy keeps his eye on them, and finally he said, I can't take it anymore. So he gets in his truck, but by the time he gets in his truck to drive there, they're taking off. Well, he follows them enough to get the license number, and he follows them all the way from one of our cities outside of here to the city limits of Murfreesboro. He comes back, and then went back and made a picture of all the trash. And then he calls one of the sheriff's deputies. They come to his house, and he shows them the pictures and gives them the license numbers. The deputy left that morning. By later in the morning, the individual comes back with the deputy standing there as they pick up every piece of trash, put it back on the trailer, and take it away. So you've got a neighborhood watch as far as trash is going in Rutherford County right now.
Good, it definitely needs it.
He didn't turn his head. He stood in there and stood his ground. I told him, I said, you need some kind of reward, I think, in that, but we just need more people doing this.
We do.
And watching for it, and we appreciated the deputy taking that extra direction, too.
And it really is a problem, and for all of us, that it's going to take all of us to solve, so that's good. Good, appreciate
I
that.
just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
They're trying to help you out there.
Sure hope so, we need it.
Yes, sir. Juvenile Detention Report.
Good evening. Before you, you have a report for the month of December, and I have a couple of things that aren't actually in our report that I'd like to talk about. We have had one young man who he is documented in the graduating from high school, but I did want to let y'all know that I had a conversation with him prior to him going to an adult facility, and he said had he not been in our facility and had the opportunity to work with our educators, that he would not have graduated high school, and he had the highest number of family members show up for his graduation that I believe we've had to date. So that was good, and I did want to share that. I also want to thank a couple of local establishments who helped us out over the Christmas holiday. Crumble Cookie sent us tons of boxes of cookies for the detainees. Longhorn Steakhouse made sure that the kids had a meal of burgers and fries. Waffle House gave the kids a breakfast Christmas morning, and a longtime religious volunteer by the name of Angela Ford also made sure that there was another day that the kids had cookies and cupcakes as a Christmas treat. So I wanted to make sure that they were given credit where credit was due. But besides that, still have 2 outstanding checks that haven't come in. I have no reason to believe that we won't get those checks from those counties by next month's report. And beyond that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Move to approve the report, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made to approve. Commissioner
Second.
Phillips. Had a second. Commissioner P. Mr. Gurley. He second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report approved.
Thank you.
Public Safety Director.
I got through quicker than I anticipated. Our office has provided the monthly report from December 14th to January the 17th. Some special notes in there that we've had 3 snow events that we monitored very closely, working with the Sheriff's Department, the police departments, the highway departments, and everybody did a great job. The first one kind of threw us off a little bit, that we wasn't anticipating 6 inches of snow or even 8 inches of snow, and we had some power outages during that event. And then just some minor little things that occurred during those snowstorms. We've been providing COVID resources continuously, working with LaShann and her team. And then also, we have been working on this Lynch Hill generator project for the last 6 months, I think. We've got some good firm handshakes with partners with Coffee County, Bedford County to share the cost of this generator. And we've reached out to the state in their participation as well. So hopefully it will reduce the cost greatly on each entity. And also we have worked on an MOU for Coffee and Bedford. Those handshakes eventually need to have MOUs or MOAs in place for future agreements. So, and I believe that's my report, Chairman.
Okay, any questions for the director?
Motion
Move to approve.
Approval, Commissioner Gurley. Second, Commissioner P. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report's approved.
I don't believe we have an agreement, contract agreement with Homeland Security.
Right.
We have we're requesting to accept a contract with Homeland Security for a grand total of $114,737. This money will go to PPE for our county, also some biodetection kits, and a robot for our sheriff's department. And we're asking to accept this contract. It's 100% funded by the federal government.
Motion to approve the grant.
Motion to approve the grant, Commissioner P. Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You need to vote on that since it's money.
Okay. Call the roll.
Commissioner Gammon,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes. Anything's 100%, I guess we...
1 minute, Chris, before you leave. If you would, can you give us a really quick update as to COVID testing and shots, those type of procedures, where we are and how long we'll be there and that kind of thing?
Our vaccinations have gone down. Participation in vaccinations have gone down drastically, and in fact, we anticipate the public health moving back from State Farm back into public health department building. As far as the testing, it has increased. Now, as you may know, that we have gone from our normal way of testing as far as the mail-in. If they hand you a box and then you would have to mail it in to get your results in 2 or 3 days, or you would have it swabbed by the public health personnel and it could come back 5 to 7 days. The 5 and 7 days is we're still swabbing noses. However, if they hand you a kit, it's a rapid test and versus having to wait 2 or 3 days, and that's available at State Farm in the mornings. So that is available. We just took shipment. In fact, Public Health called me to see how I could get it down here on crates. We received significant number of them. However, I'm sure we're going through them quite a bit. I think we've reached our peak as far as COVID. Now, Chris Clark's opinion, I think we're reaching our peak. We had kind of anticipated this coming just due to holidays. I think we all did, knowing the trends that we ran last year. Our hospitals are still at capacity or near capacity. I haven't received any complaints or anything as far as overcrowding, those kind, but, you know, Rutherford County is a big county, 340-something thousand people and 2 hospitals. It becomes very busy, and especially this time of year with not only COVID, but other injuries that occur during the day, and then also flu, strep throat, all those things that we see this time of year. So does that answer your question?
Yes, State Farm, at this present time for vaccinations, for how long?
Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, Director Clark asked me to check on that with LaShann Matthews-Dixon. I talked with her on Friday. She said February 1 would be, February 1, we will not be using the inside of State Farm to do inoculations. She's moving that back to the health department. So we'll still be using, so I went ahead and sent an email to my contact with State Farm in Dallas, Texas, to request, and that'll be coming before the full commission because we have to renew it for another month. I've already, Rachel, you sent that in by DocuSign Friday, I believe. It was Friday. So we sent that in. We'll be utilizing that for the drive-through for the testing at State Farm until the 28th of February.
So if a person has not been vaccinated and they decided they want to go to State Farm.
Until February 1st.
Until February 1st. And then all they have to do is present some type of an ID. Is that it? Is that it?
Yes, sir, and they'll give you a card and you'll be on your way. And they're very quick over there. They do a great job. And they walk in, and it's located in the rear of State Farm. You enter off of DeJarnett. Basically the first entrance that's labeled, you can see where to go in that back door.
Be the north side.
And then testing's around on the front part. Reason we didn't move testing is because we can't take that capacity over here and start roadblocks again, is the only reason why we're leaving the testing part in place.
So if a new person got their first vaccination at State Farm, and then 3 weeks later or so they need to get their second one, they'd go to the county health department.
After February the 1st. If they did that up till February, they'll still go to State Farm to get their second shot.
Very good. Thanks.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Ambulance report? Brian?
Good evening. You get us both again tonight. Carl's got something he's going to go over whenever we get finished the report. But for the month of December, we did 3,475 calls, 61 interfacility transfers, total of 3,536. Response time was 7.7. I'm going to leave the DOA part in case he wants to cover it, but it's all in the report. We billed $2,185,617, collected $894,429. Year to date is $5,076,917. Projected is $10,153,834. Next page over is just some classes and community relations. On the non-emergency side, we did 445 calls. Total billed was $316,120, collected $125,852. Year to date is $700,022,674, and projected is $1,445,347. And that is my report. Oh, there's something from Vanderbilt in there, and that's it. That's my report.
Move to approve.
Have the motion to approve. Commissioner Gurley, have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Commissioner Rather, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? report is approved, I believe you have an amendment.
A budget amendment. And a couple of months ago, we had an ambulance that was struck in the side, that was totaled. When we did a post-accident inspection of the stretcher, they ended up totaling it also. Stryker agreed to sell us a stretcher for $10,000, which is about half price, and also going to give us $2,500 for the trade-in. We amended the insurance claim. They sent us the check, so we're wanting to take the check and move it from insurance recovery into health equipment to be able to purchase that new stretcher.
Motion to approve the request.
All right, motion made to approve the request. Commissioner P, second.
Second.
Have the second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips? Yes. Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Mr. Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Carl?
I'm back. I want to thank the mayor and chairman for letting me come up and speak on behalf of Denise on the medical examiner's side of the department. And I just wanted, this is more of an informative thing, so you'll know how to prepare for the future. A lot of this I've already gone over with the mayor. But I'm going to give you some numbers tonight. The last fiscal year, 2021, we did exactly 350 autopsies, and those were at $1,850 apiece, which totaled $647,500 for that year. We pay $135 per transport, and that totaled out to $47,250. Add those together, that's a total of $694,750 that the county invested in the 2021 fiscal year. And a while back, Denise had inquired in Nashville, do they anticipate on raising their rates? And they told us that they didn't foresee that happening. Well, not only did they raise them, starting in March, it's going up another $250. So that means we'll be paying $2,100 per autopsy starting in March. So far, transport hadn't, the cost of that hadn't gone up, but with the fuel prices the way they are, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. If they go up to $2,100 per autopsy, which they are going to, and we do the same amount of autopsies that we did this past fiscal year, the county's going to be paying $782,250. So I just wanted to throw those numbers at you so you'll know where we're headed into next year. Next year we will hit, I believe, over 350, maybe 360 autopsies. Right now, from looking at this report, we've already done 157 autopsies, so we're on track. And the numbers are about right because you base it on population. You usually send one person for autopsy for every 1,000 people, so we're pretty much on track. And we're very conservative in the way we do it. We have Denise that's also has the toxicology room, so we don't have to send everybody for an autopsy, but we can do our own toxicologies if they meet the criteria for that. So we're doing everything we can to try to cut these numbers down, but this $782,250, that's never going to go away. It's only going to go up. So that's just an informative thing. Last month, we sent 20 for autopsy, but had a total of 87 deaths for the county. And last month, they spent $39,200. So you can see where we're going to be at. And later on, I'm probably going to recommend to the mayor or recommend to Director Gaither to recommend to the mayor to prepare for an $800,000 budget for autopsies. So I just wanted to let you know it's not getting any better as far as the cost of what we're paying for autopsies. Also, before I retired, Denise asked the mayor and the chairman if she could apply for a grant. It was an emergency grant because when we found out about it, we only had 3 days left. And we later brought it to this committee, and y'all gave us our blessings, and we thought we was going to hear something around in October, and we didn't hear anything. So usually if you don't hear nothing, that's not good. Well, I believe it was Christmas Eve night, Denise called me and said that Reba had called her and said we got awarded the grant. And it's a grant from the Bureau of Justice, and it's a comprehensive opioid stimulant and substance abuse site-based program grant, and we were awarded $471,807. And with this, we're able to hire 2 more investigators, and this is a no-match grant for 3 years. And so Denise had asked Sonia to post these positions, and she did, and I just found out tonight so far she's got 35 applicants. And I'm really, really surprised at that, because this is these investigations that's a trade in itself. It's not just something anybody off the street can come and do. There's a lot of training, there's a lot to it, and a lot of it's to keep the county out of trouble. So I have a lot of confidence in whoever Denise hires, because she knows what she needs, and we're really looking forward to it. And I believe she's going to start interviewing, I believe, in mid-February. And Ashley had wrote a nice article that was out. I'm sure it went to the county email and all of that. But anyway, this is just informative. I wanted you to know the direction, money-wise, on all of this. I know it's been a subject that's over the years has really never been talked about that much, but I do think it is time we start talking about it, because this county has gotten so big, it's going to be a problem for us if we don't get ahead of it. So, and that is why I'm here. I'm going to do everything I can to keep you informed and do everything I can to make sure Rutherford County keeps leading and not following. And that's my report.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hudgens, concerning the grant and those 2 people, they're going to be hired, I believe, in talking with Director Gaither. I don't know if we could equate that it's going to save us money, but I think it will save us time as far as supervisors not being pulled off from their area. So they'll be able to still concentrate as opposed to going over to identify a corpse, right?
That's correct. It's really going to be a huge help as far as the supervisors at the ambulance service, because it's not uncommon for sometimes to be on the scene for 4 to 6 hours. And it's just hard to run your shift when you're dealing with with that. I mean, it's two different hats you're wearing. And,
So that's a good thing.
yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, so going back to the autopsies going up to $2,100, that's my understanding that if someone overdoses and we send them to Nashville and they die there, it's not counted for us.
That's correct.
But even though we had to respond on the scene to transport to get them there.
That's correct, sir. And also keep in mind, if somebody's brought to this hospital and passes away, say if you were in Coffee County and you were shot,
They come here.
and they come here
we count it.
and die, it's our burden.
So this coming Friday, CBS National News is actually coming here and going to be filming, I think, right here in this room. I think some of our folks from drug court, I believe Commissioner Harris is going to be interviewed, and others, about segments on the drug overdoses that seems to be sweeping the country right now. Are you seeing, as our county coroner, are you seeing increases with fentanyl and overdoses that's being brought in by the cartel?
Yes, sir. It's, we're seeing an increase, and we're also seeing an increase in homicides.
On what?
Homicides.
Homicides?
Yes, sir.
I think that's happening all over the country. It's just, I don't know if COVID made everybody angry or what, but it's not good.
But I do want to keep in mind that all of these deaths aren't overdoses. Some of them are just deaths that we can't explain.
And suicide?
Be suicides, homicides, and there's others that we will send if they don't have an extensive medical history that most likely would have contributed to the death. But, you know, if we can explain it, then we don't send them. But our numbers increases solely based on the population of the county.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Any other questions that anyone might have? Thank you, sir. All right, on the grant.
No, they already voted to request it. Now it's just been awarded, right?
I was going to say, I thought we'd already done that grant, so. All right, this is some.
We're not giving it back.
Yeah, we're not going in reverse here if we can. The thing we need to realize here is that we're no longer a small county. We're going to see more and more of this as we continue to go along and see these increases in what we've got to do. All right, fire and rescue.
For the month of December, Rutherford County Fire Rescue responded to 4 structure fires, 4 vehicle fires, 316 medical calls, 60 MBAs, 26 of those were with injuries and 34 were without. And we ran a total of 532 calls for the month of December. For the year 2021, we ran 69 structure fires, 62 vehicle fires, 3,549 medical calls, 744 MVAs. There was 341 with injury, 403 without injury. 25 of those were extrications, for a total call volume of 6,739 calls. If you look at the second page, it shows all the response of the volunteers. We ran 120 structure fires, 116 brush fires, 117 vehicle fires, 1,336 MVAs with the 25 extrications, for a total call volume of 8,491 calls. And just to kind of put that in perspective, in 2010, when the county fire department was created, That year, in 2010, we ran 1,300 calls countywide. So we've gone, in 12 years, we've gone from 1,300 calls to over 8,000. And the biggest increase, I think, as far as population for us is the MVAs. The next sheet is what we send to the county codes department, the structures that have damage from fire. The next report is our fire investigation, fire marshal's report on structure fires and the determination of what the cause and origin was. And then our continuation of our fire prevention and free installation of smoke alarms. And then the last page is the report on illegal burns across the county. And that concludes my report.
Any questions on the report?
Move to approve as submitted.
Commissioner Gurley moves to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor of the report, say aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Report approved. Gentlemen, I think we've sort of gone back like the football games and done a second review of what we've done a while ago, but we were looking at what Carl just presented a while ago. We have a date here. We haven't met since Christmas Eve. And as far as receiving that grant for what they're getting ready to do to hire these individuals, we really haven't said we're going to receive that grant or accept that grant. So what I'm asking for right now is a motion to accept that grant.
Motion to accept.
Commissioner Gammon.
Second that.
Second, Commissioner Gurley. Call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Mr. P,
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips, Mr. Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes. Thank you. Radio system. You're good. All right. Gentlemen, we're into other business. Is there other business? Commissioner Gurley.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see if the mayor has an update, or you have an update on the study, the pay study, because in the last month to 6 weeks, I've received information on several neighboring entities that have significantly, of course, we knew about it at our last meeting, the state raising the correctional officer pay, but I've received notices of several neighboring law enforcement jurisdictions have significantly raised their pay. And I also know that you heard the Sheriff's Department say they're still 30 down, and it's it's a problem. I just hate to see us lose 10, 15, and 20-year experience, because I know firsthand it takes 4 or 5 years for an officer or a paramedic or a fireman to really get to know their territory and really become a part of it. Yes, you can hire a body, but you can't hire the experience. And so I guess, do you have an update or?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir, Commissioner. Week before last, the Mayor's Caucus here in Middle Tennessee, we met with the governor, and we told him that, we were concerned that he elevated our detention officers, because what that has happened since that time is that Montgomery County has come and robbed from Sumner County. Sumner County's gone to Wilson County, and vice versa. So it's all, everybody's going in and scavenging from each other county, whoever they can attract, because there's just not enough law enforcement officers. So we are fully engaged, and I believe Mrs. Stevenson is here. We have contracted with the company. I'm not sure, Sonia, where we're at as far as timetable is concerned. You may want to come forward and move to suspend the rules and let her come forward.
We have the motion to suspend the rules for Ms. Stevens to come forward.
You can give us an update.
All those in favor say aye.
Steve Thompson last week, and he has all of our salaries that we currently have, all of our job titles, every department. I've also sent him all of the benefits, because that's the other piece that they're looking at. What are our benefits in comparisons to the others? We were the next county in line, or the next entity in line, because he's doing multiple salary surveys. As of last week, he started, or actually as of this past weekend, he started on our salary survey and compiling all the data. And the only additional piece that I'm sending him now is some of the departments have changes that they wanted to make in reclassifications, retitles, and that's the last piece that he will be looking at. But he's currently evaluating all of our positions that we have. He has our current pay structure, our currently pay table, every position that we have. He knows our vacancies, how many we would have full, the years of service. He looks at those things as well, just to say, how long has this person been in this particular job versus how long they've been with the county. So our hopes is that we'll have something the 1st of April. I asked him as quickly as possible. Obviously, this body has to decide what type of pay structure you want to have so that we can get that created and get everybody evaluated for their pay. So hopefully the 1st of April.
Does that help? Mr. Peake?
One thing I want to point out, you guys are aware of our budget process. And, it won't be till June till we actually decide and vote as a commission on our new budget for the coming year. And, it's possible that we could do some hiring before then, but, until those increases are put into our budget, we don't really have money budgeted for the increases. But in April and then soon after that, we'll be having budget meetings. And I promise you that those salaries will definitely be looked at.
Okay. Commissioner Gurley?
Yeah, Chairman P. just made the point that I was really getting at, is that we've got to get these ahead of time so they can be put into the budget process, because I fully realize they're not going to take effect till July 1. But if we go another budget cycle and don't get this done and into the budget process to be voted on the 27th, I think it is, of June, then we're going to be in a real hard place. So thank you for the update.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Rather?
So when this study comes back, I assume it would go to the mayor. Where does it go from there? Does it come here to budget and finance? Where does it go? So are we going to be able to look at that study and see it with our own eyes at some point in some committee? So I don't understand why this process.
Ultimately, it's going to go to budget, but I think it should be distributed to my recommendation that all commissioners have an opportunity to look at it. And as we start the budget process, Sonia, what date? Do we have an idea of a return date?
What I have done is I've asked Mr. Thompson to come address our body, to come and address, and him to go over the outcomes of the salary survey and explain it to you, and if you have questions. So I have asked him to do that, and he is prepared when he does do that to come. So he will explain to you, give you a copy of the salary survey. He will explain to you, and then at that point, then you'll have to decide. I've asked him to provide examples on how to implement the pay plan, what it would, what a pay plan would look like. I have expressed that it would be the desire that we have a separate public safety table versus a county general. What would that look like? What do other entities do? And so I've asked him to bring some examples back when he does come, to kind of give you a guide instead of just going in there blindly and just saying, here's a lot of information, now what do I do with it? So that is something that I've asked him to do for you. So
I think that's wonderful that he's coming to explain that. Is that in front of the full commission or?
I envision that, yes.
Okay. I would strongly urge that, because there's 7 of us and there's 14 other ones. I think before the commission would be great. But anyway, I'm trying to understand the process. Thank you.
Okay, other questions?
If I could follow up on that question, I think the proper procedure, if that's not what I just heard, the proper procedure is to go through this committee first. It should be presented for this committee to vote on and make a recommendation if we decide to go to the budget committee.
What?
Is that what I heard or not heard?
Well, we can do it that way, but it's county general. Entire county, so it's all positions.
This is a complete study of the entire.
It's PAWS, we're doing you all authorized to do the whole county general, so I guess we could probably bring it to each respective committee or bring it all at one time.
I guess what I'm hearing is that we're more interested in this committee as it relates to the main concern of this committee is public safety.
Sure.
And I'm not sure whether you can break it out or make that presentation, Sonia, or not, just before this committee, but that's going to be a big chunk of it, I'd say. So I'd like to see that
start here
at this committee
before it goes to budget.
This is where it started. You're right.
That's right.
Where we would have some input.
Sure.
Okay.
Chairman, that's one of my voice is a little shot, so that's why I hadn't said much tonight, and I know y'all are happy, but but I got to concur with Commissioner Phillips. The thing with the process, on top of that, talking about going to decide about the budget, let's say even if today the money was approved through committee budget, even to hire 30 people or to replace the 30 people that needs to be replaced sheriff's office, that's not going to happen overnight anyway. You got to vet employees. Just because you got 50 applicants don't mean any of those 50 may fit the criteria on top of that. But also I want to add to what Commissioner Phillips said. You know, we are public safety, and I'm concerned about all employees, just like I know the mayor is 100%, and you are, sir. But this committee, one of the focuses we had, I know that Commissioner Gurley and other people on this commission has, is that we're targeting public safety. That's one of our issues, is we got to get public safety salaries up. You know, whatever goes with it, benefits. You know, on top of that, you know, bless Governor Lee's heart, and I think it's great what he did, but he sure put a thumb on us. But maybe that thumb needs to be there on all areas. And my concern, or my belief is, I'm not as much worried about catching up as superseding these other counties and cities and everybody else. We should have the best here. We expect the best, and the only way we're going to get it if we fight for it. But it's going to take a lot of work with commissioners' budget and all that. So one of the issues I think in the committee process, sure, all are going to be included, but still we set aside, we feel the need, and everybody sacrificed all that. I'm not taking away from that. But public safety is our biggest issue here, of getting these people's salaries up, what they do for us. You know, those sacrifices on the street every day. You know, because I know of a lot of guys that are catching COVID constantly. And one of the things that I've seen out there, and we've done it, it's like the tractor supply. There's employees that work part-time over there that are county employees, and when they get COVID, from my understanding, they may have to use or not use, you know, their time here in the county, whether it's vacation or what, sick leave. Tractor Supply, for instance, still pays a full salary to these people, even part-time. So we've got to kind of, I hate this word, think outside the box. We've got to go to the next level. I've seen it happen with commissioners here, with the judicial building. You built something that's going to last and it's going to grow, and just doggone looks good, you know, dollar for dollar. And I didn't think I'd ever see that happen as long as I was, you know, living, to be honest. You know, in general, that's my concern. I know it's everybody's, and I know it's a hard penny pincher. I don't want to sit here and keep beating that horse, but we've got to fix this thing. We've got to fix this thing from the committee. And I know from talking to Mayor Ketron, and I know where you stand, Chairman, we've got to take the bull by the horns here.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I don't think I can look across this entire panel right here and not think the same thing. I think that's totally within this committee, is that we are concerned about those individuals, and I think that's where we're going to go, because we've all said here, and that's where we started, and that's why I say this comes back here, because this is where it started, and I think that's where we're going to go too. I can look out across this audience and I see the same thing out there. So I think that's where we're going and where we've got to go from there. Other business.
One more thing, Chairman. I've been getting some phone calls, and I served the nation in active Army. I served the National Guard, and this has always come up off and on and been an issue. We deployed between 20 and 30 employees just from the sheriff's office alone in this county, and you have many, many employees that are with the county. And one of the concerns that's come up is Governor Lee is fixing to send 50 guardsmen to Texas to guard that border that we all want to see taken care of, guarded. It's a dangerous job. And one of the concerns, and it may already have been worked on, I spoke with the mayor today and he's on top of it, but I wanted to voice a concern that we've got to take care of these troops. And it's different than even when I was in the military as far as guardsmen, is you have to be battle ready now, constantly. It's not like just the annual training and 2 days a weekend. It's far beyond that now because of what's going on. And one of the conversations that we had today, it's really concerning what's going on in the world. And it's going to come and hit us, I believe, as Ukraine, Taiwan, and some of these other countries. It's coming. And so we're going to have to buckle down again, and we've got men and women that are fixing to have to go overseas again soon. It's going to happen, but we got to take care of what's here and now as far as our National Guardsmen, you know, that they don't have to worry about at home if they've got food on the table or this and that, because they're more concerned with the front line of what they're doing with boots on the ground.
I'd like to echo that. I've received some phone calls and stuff too. It kind of reminds me back today in the early 90s when we had Desert Storm. I was with THP at the time. We had quite a number of troopers, and the state didn't have the number of troopers then that they have now, but you know, we had a significant number who were also in the Guard, mostly with the 278th Armored Cavalry, and they got deployed for Desert Storm, and they were gone for quite some time, but the state took care of them. And I think we need to do the same for any employees in Rutherford County that get called up to, whether it's duty on the border of this country or duty overseas. We need to make sure we take care of them.
Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me self-assure you that we're on top of that. Before I left the Senate in 2018, Governor Haslam passed some legislation making sure that counties, thank you, Commissioner, for bringing my attention this afternoon, because we do have some that need to be taken care of. That will anybody that leaves will be taken care of. Sonia's on top of it. I talked to her. She has informed Teresa in finance and also Lisa. So anybody that's in that situation with the Guard, checks will be cut to them. They won't be penalized at all. We stand for those who serve us.
Okay. Other business. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was brought to my attention by a couple of commissioners to bring before this body in light of what has recently happened in juvenile court and the judge tendering her press release last Friday saying that she was not going to seek re-election. Some of the commissioners thought that this committee should make a decision in moving forward, that either the director, Ms. Duke, or whoever's in that position, report to the mayor's office, be a direct report, or either we form a committee, very similar to what we have at the Correctional Work Center, to have greater oversight of juvenile than what we currently have. Ms. Duke reports directly, and I think that going back in history, when we created and built that facility, that's how it was established at that time, and reports to the juvenile judge.
What could, without creating another board,
Pardon me?
Could we incorporate juvenile into the Correctional Work Center?
I'm thinking that this
board?
committee probably needs to weigh in and request an opinion from our attorney. Whether
our
or not
attorney.
we can or whether we can't. I don't know that, and because it was a private act established at the time for those commissioners that were here, how that is reflective, and then because juvenile reports to a court, I don't know the legal ramifications of that, but I think if this body wants to move forward and ask our attorney, Mr.
I would make a motion to authorize the mayor to request an opinion from our attorney as to what can and can't be done in regard to juvenile detention oversight.
I think it would give more oversight or transparency back to this body. If there, I'd like to see a board like we have at Correctional Work Center. I don't know if that's possible or not, but as opposed to direct report, but I think either one is an option that you can look at.
Okay, we have the motion. Have a second?
For me to ask the county mayor to look into what is possible as far as forming a board to have oversight, am I correct?
Yeah, the motion was to authorize the mayor to request an opinion from our county attorney as to what are the possibilities with regard to oversight of juvenile corrections, juvenile correctional center.
And how they report back. In other words, do we need a board similar to what the correction facility has that we do now? And that's why they do it?
But no, we're not talking about that elected official. We're talking about the director, Lynn Duke, Juvenile Detention Center. And I don't know the legalities of her being a direct report to the juvenile judge, or because she does have juvenile, not commissioners, but yeah, they have commissioners that are direct report to her. But she would be in the same position as Bill Cope.
So the question was not about the elected judge, it was about the juvenile detention director.
Director, that is correct.
And looking at who that person reports to and seeing if it's possibility that they report to someone else, such as the county commission.
That's correct.
The only reason I didn't second this is I don't think the mayor needs our permission to get information. I think he can get that information and report it back to us, and that'd be my request that the mayor.
That's it.
I just brought it up for discussion tonight to see if that's what you wanted me to do, and I'm not sure we need a motion, but I'll be happy to do that and report back next month. But she'll still be in office.
If that's all right with the rest of the committee, I mean, I just didn't see the need for a motion.
She'll be in office until August 31st.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Are you?
Like I said, I don't think we need a motion.
Okay. I'll do that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So we have the director of Correctional Workhouse comes here every month. Probation, Recovery Court, PAWS, the sheriff actually shows up, EMS. Why would the director of Juvenile, which we already get a report from the juvenile courts, I hate making all these boards and committees. Sometimes it's very useful and very helpful and warranted. Why couldn't we just do it here within us, that director comes here every month?
Well, she does come here every month, as it is right now. And this was established before I got there for Correctional Work Center, it used to be the workhouse. There was a body made up, county mayor being the chairman, whoever he or she was. And then there are 4 people selected through the steering committee. I think Mr. Asbury is on that board, David Puckett, former assistant DA, Mrs. Mosley, her husband's a retired police chief, and trying to think who else the county put on. One other gentleman, I can't. Tom Hartley, that's it. Tom's on there as a board member. And so they meet once a month. They work with the workhouse every month to see what the needs are. They work with them on the inspections, et cetera. And then they make a report, and then they give it to Mr. Cope, and that's when he comes back here. You can continue doing what you're doing. Want to do that?
All my motion does is request us to gather information on what's legal to do in terms of organization.
They come back and say that the way we filed our private act, you can't do it. You would have to change the private act. I don't know. Sure. Okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
What? I don't think
Well, if we
you
don't,
withdrew your motion. Sure. I'll request
just going
it.
to give the mayor the opportunity to just go find out the information.
I'll bring it
And then
back,
report
Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Happy to do that.
that's fine. We'll just go that direction. Anything else to bring?
One last item, members, for everybody in here, Friday, 1 o'clock. Long-awaited opportunity. We've been waiting on for a long, long time. We're going to break ground in Rockvale for our public health and safety building.
There's already a backhoe out there, guys.
That's, already got it out there?
It's already sitting out there. Pulled it in this afternoon.
That's awesome. So we're excited about that. For those on budget, we have that afternoon 3 interviews set up for our replacement of Ms. Nolan for our budget and safety chairman. So we're excited about all that. Friday's going to be a big day.
Mr. Rather?
I look forward to the flyer that I get to hold up someday, the groundbreaking of Leanna Convenience Center. It's renovated site. And I will personally pay for the flyers and send them out everywhere.
I told Mr. Freddie Pfeiffer at the basketball game Saturday night that Saturday afternoon that it's coming.
But I want you to understand, we're breaking ground on our first one. I want you to understand, this is the first one. We've got 5 more to go, guys.
Thursday of this week, members, we are meeting with the Poultry Group, which is building the new Dale Webb, I won't say settlement, but subdivision, I guess, the gated community on former Mayor Burgess's property, and they'll be donating 2 acres to the county to build a public health and safety building on that location on Highway 96.
Okay, anything else? We're adjourned.